different energy, right?
Yeah. You watch another classic episode of the Miller Experience. I want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing to the channel. Currently, we have 1,152 subscribers. Keep liking, guys. Keep subscribing. Keep commenting. It's all love. You know, whether it's good or bad, we still love you. You know how it goes. Hey, guys, today we have a very special guest. Welcome back to the powerful episode of Miller Experience, where we have real conversation, meet real people making real moves. Today, we're honored to be joined by a true force in the entertainment world and an award-winning world pop artist, actress, and global performer who's lighting up the stage, screaming with her voice, her vision, and her fire. She's dynamic, talented, with roots that span cultures and a message that resonates worldwide. Whether she's commanding in a crowd through her music, captivating audience on the scene, she brings passion, power, and purpose to everything she does. Family, the Mill Experience family, help me welcome the one and only Miss Ferreira Mita, aka Firefly. Firefly, what's up?
What's up? That was quite the intro. Thank you. I'll just correct you a little bit quickly. My name is pronounced Farah.
Farah, I'm
Mita.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But you can call me Firefly. It's all good. That's why Firefly is just nice and easy, and it represents the light in all of us. So
right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, thank you for that intro.
If we were to talk about all her accolades, we'd be here all day.
Right.
You know, I've been lucky to have some great milestones over a long career, and you know, I'm nowhere close to done. So thank you for celebrating them with me.
Indeed.
All right, Firefly, for those who may not know, who is Firefly in your own words?
Okay, so I had many musical influences. So my background is it comes from so many different places. Like I grew up in Canada. Um, I'm Muslim, so there was a lot of Islamic influence. And then my parents and my whole family were born and raised in East Africa and Kenya, but my background is Indian. I'm pretty sure in a past lifetime I was Caribbean. So my influence is just I'm just like a melting pot of like so many different cultures and influences.
Right.
And so my influences really ranged from Michael Jackson, for sure, was a huge one from a music perspective, but also from like a purpose mission perspective. Sean Paul, Alicia Keys, Whitney Houston, Toni Braxton, Alanis Morissette. I listened to Guns N' Roses. And so like it actually was really hard for me to pick a lane because I loved the like rock pop as much as I did R&B pop, as much as I did dance hall pop, and then the whole Bollywood scene was always so fascinating to me. But it always centered around pop music. There was something about I mean, pop music today is a little bit different, but at least when I was growing up, there was something about pop music that was so accessible to everybody. And it just kind of brought people together, right? Like in one universal language, whether it was pop music in English or French or you know, Hindi or whatever. But there was just something about pop music that seemed to have a depth and carry influence and power and a message. So I was really gravitated towards that. But yeah, I would say those were some of my main influences. And then over through my career too, Sia became a huge one. I love her as a songwriter. And I just keep meeting people that you may never even have heard of, but that are in the industry and maybe more independent artists that are so talented that I just love working with and I'm very inspired by.
Right. So my boy Larry Menkins from the Chillin' and Vibing podcast, he told me about you. That's how I learned about you. Shout out to Larry, Chillin' and Vibing podcast.
Shout out.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
Oh yeah. How do you get discovered in the music industry? What was your journey? How do you get discovered?
So I was late to start. I always wanted to do music. Like when I was growing up, I really leaned on music and writing to help me kind of through life. I always had like these, you know, big emotions that I didn't know what to do with. And I just seemed to like feel things more deeply than most people. And so like music and writing really became my therapy and like my lifeline. And so I always wanted to do music, but I grew up in a South Asian family. And when you grow up in a South Asian family, there were really only three options: doctor, lawyer, engineer. So I also loved school and I loved academics and I loved biology and anatomy and all that stuff. So I actually ventured on to the route of medical school. I did my bachelor's and my master's in physical therapy, and then I was, doing interviews and my MCATs and all that stuff. And I was sitting in a medical school interview that was going really well for a school that I thought I wanted to go to. And partway through the interview, the better and better it was going, funny enough, I just like my heart just all of a sudden sank, and I was getting this like premonition that this was not my journey. And so when I left the interview, I started to visualize my life in like 20 years from now. And on the doctor route, um, I was married and I had kids and I had this like stable job and it was cool, but like there was something inside of me that was missing. Like my spark was gone. My light was kind of gone. And then I envisioned it. I mean, I couldn't really envision it along this music route because I didn't have any idea what that would look like. But I just knew that that was not my path. So when I came back from my interview, I kind of decided like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to somehow figure out how to be in music. There was nobody in my family that was doing music. I had no mentors. I had no like guides or anything. So what I did was I set an intention of like, I'm just going to somehow figure this out. And then I started like, put some posts up on Craigslist. Like, are there any producers looking for singers? Are there any bands looking for singers? Anything like that? And in the meantime, I tried to set up my life in a way that would create some space for this. So at the time I was working like, I don't know, 60 hours a week or more as a physical therapist. And so I quit. Well, I kind of like scaled down my hours in one of my jobs and just rearranged my whole schedule so I could actually have some days off to like look into this and pursue this. And honestly, it's like I manifested it because within 6 weeks of me creating that intention, I was walking out of my building and a guy was walking into the building and we just kind of like nodded at each other, or like we'd sort of seen each other before, and before, you just like nod at somebody, but this time we like nodded. And I don't know, something just prompted me to say like, "Oh, you look tired," which he did. Um and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just coming from the studio, whatever." And like my ears perked up, and I was like, "Studio? What do you do? Who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm a artist manager." And we were just working on some songs or whatever. And I'm like, "Really? I sing?" And he goes, and his ears perked up as soon as I said that. And he was like, "Really? How good are you?" And I was like, I don't know.
Flex
Like,
on.
well, I mean, how do you answer this question? This is coming from somebody who's like never had a lot of self-confidence. So I was just like, what do you mean? Like, compared to who? He's like, I don't know, compared to whoever. So in my head, I'm like trying to do a calculation of like, okay, if Whitney Houston is like a 10 and like I'm trying to like put different singers in different categories, and I'm like, where would I fall? And so he saw me like thinking about it too hard and was like, he was like, okay, well, let's set up a meeting. You can sing for me, and we'll figure it out from there. I'm like, okay. So I think maybe the next day we met in my spot, and he was like, okay, sing. And I was like, okay. So then I sang. I started to sing "I Will Always Love You," and then he stopped me about 10 seconds in. And I was like, oh shit, sorry, oh shoot, this is either
No,
gonna
you
be
good.
really, I was like, this is gonna be really bad or really good. Cause like, on American Idol and stuff that had just like, um, it was like, if they stop you too soon, you're either amazing or you suck. And so he just kind of like looked at me and was like, okay, I really like your tone. You're really good. Let's talk. And that's how it started. So I met a manager, and he had a lot of industry contacts and a good network, so we started working together. He started developing me. It was a rocky ride for sure because I was so green, and the way he was used to like building up an artist and like kind of selling them to a label, that kind of part of the industry was done. It was like everything was shifting, so we had a lot of ups and downs, but that was absolutely like my intro into the industry, and I'm so grateful because right away, like all the contacts he had, like I had a single with Chocolare, who's like a legend, a rapper in Canada. And like I grew up listening to him, and all of a sudden I had a song with him in a music video, and it was on Much Music on TV, and then a song with Gypsy. Like it was just crazy. It was like this like whole snowball, but that's how it started.
So